Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Suleiman Raheem here. Let's slay some demons. First we're going to listen to this little talk by Farrakhan's student minister, Wesley Muhammad. And you decide. I'll just play it.
The world's first monoclonal antibody that attacks and neutralizes SARS-CoV-2 inside the body. Israel had not only the world's first vaccine, Israel had the world's first antibody, monoclonal antibody. Israel had and has an anti-coronavirus mask that is 99.99% effective at killing the virus on contact. The technology was developed by the Israel Institute for Biological Research and the IDF. Israel has a therapeutic that is a drug that is 100% successful. So the state of Israel had this spectrum of totally effective therapies against this virus that was tearing through the earth that no one saw before, no one had defenses for except someone did. And so Israel, while the world was inflamed by this virus, on April 2nd, Prime Minister, or April 18th, Prime Minister Netanyahu boasted about Israel subduing the virus. The world proclaimed Israel as the example of victory over the virus. But while Israel was, with all of its protections, all of its technology that was ready to go before we knew anything about COVID-19. While Israel was protected, look at this. The whole Jewish diaspora was being ravaged by the coronavirus, just as the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan said. He said that it was the Jews, the Jewish sin of altering the word of God that brought this pandemic down from heaven. So if the Jews are the catalyst, one would think that the Jews were the first recipients, the first victims, and you would be right. We documented the first area codes that were devastated by coronavirus in America were Jewish area codes.
It's getting them and not us.
In fact,
Plaguing them, passing over us. Think about it.
the Nation of Islam every year celebrates the birth of our Savior, Master Fard Muhammad.
No, you don't. You call it Savior's Day, plural now. Call it Savior's Day.
February 26, 1877. So, the Nation of Islam celebrates his birth on the weekend of his birthday. Last year, due to venue availability, the Nation of Islam could not celebrate his birth on the weekend of February 26th.
Couldn't afford to get a site.
As fate would have it, as divine fate would have it,
Divine fate.
the Nation of Islam celebrated the birth of Master Fard Muhammad during the weekend of February 20th, that Thursday, with the laborers meeting, culminating with the address on February 23rd of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, announcing the unraveling of this great nation.
And not once did he mention the virus, not once.
So important is because it is that very weekend, February 20th through February 24th.
Here comes the big lie.
Or 23rd, where this global pandemic was gestating. The new mutation of the virus first claimed its victim publicly on February 21st. Iran announced
That's a
for
lie.
the first time
January.
victimization by the virus, and it was not the Wuhan virus. On February 22nd, while Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam are in Detroit, Michigan. Look what's going on the planet.
And you didn't mention it one time, not once.
While Master Fard Muhammad's birth is being celebrated in Detroit, Michigan, something is happening in Iran, something is happening in Italy, and something is happening in New York.
That you didn't know anything about.
In Italy,
Nothing.
just like in Iran, their first reports of victimization, February 21st and February 22nd. This was the beginning of the global pandemic.
That's a lie. January.
And February 21st and 22nd, the very weekend God's man was declaring
Liar. And you never mentioned it once.
of the great nation, but that's not all. This weekend, the days between February 20th and February 23rd, that is literally the gestation period for the COVID-19 pandemic. Wuhan experienced an epidemic, and we can talk about Five Eyes in Israel when we talk about the Wuhan virus and the epidemic. But when we talk about the COVID-19 pandemic, that's when Allah shows his hand most discernibly. The pandemic began not in Wuhan, because that was a different virus. The pandemic began in Iran and then in Italy. It happened the very weekend the Nation of Islam was meeting in Detroit, but most importantly, something else, the third part of this gestation period, COVID-19 gestation period.
I said it would come out of Iran. That's what the angel says. But you didn't know anything about it till Jan, July. You speak on it until July. Stop lying.
A Jewish lawyer.
Liars.
Lawrence Garbutt.
Angel said it came out of Iran. At least they got that part
On
partly right.
February 20th, a Jewish lawyer, Lawrence Garbutt. I'm sorry, February 22nd. He attended his synagogue, Young Israel of New Rochelle. The next day, he attended a bat mitzvah at that same synagogue. Lawrence Garbutt is now known as the real patient zero for the American COVID-19 pandemic. He is the super spreader event for the American pandemic. Do you remember when the New York Governor Cuomo set up that containment zone and you saw the army restricting access into the containment zone? The center of that containment zone was Young Israel of New Rochelle Synagogue. The American pandemic began with an American Jew at an American synagogue, which he visited February 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. The same weekend, the Nation of Islam is in Detroit. That weekend is the gestation period of the global pandemic. This pestilence from heaven ripped through Jewish zip codes. It decimated Jewish zip codes in America and throughout the whole diaspora. Observers at that stage, black people at that stage, were saying, COVID is a white man's disease.
Yep.
And if we look closer at that period, we would have said COVID is a white Jew disease because it was the Jewish communities everywhere outside of Israel that were decimated while Israel was proclaiming victory over the virus. Jews of the diaspora was being devastated in what they described as a pestilence from heaven. I'm sorry, as a plague of biblical proportions. The Jews ravaged by the virus described their experience as a plague of biblical proportions. Now, look, that makes sense. This pestilence from heaven was called down by the sins of Israel. And the first to be devastated by the virus were the Jews of the diaspora. But while this is happening, the state of Israel, Netanyahu, the Israel Institute for Biological Research, with all of their technology, they were boasting of their victory over this pestilence from heaven. And then July 4th happened. And then July 4th happened. What do I mean by that? On July 4th is when the Honorable Brother Mr. Farrakhan, God's man, revealed the context of this pestilence from heaven. And it was look at that date. On July 6th, 2 days after God's man spoke from the Garden of Eden, the press
Garden of Eden.
Israel
Boy.
has been hit with a tsunami. Israel was hit with a second wave of COVID-19, and this time Israel lost. All of Israel's defenses, all of Israel's technology was overcome, such that by September, Israel replaced the U.S., who had been the epicenter of this pandemic. Most of the time, the state of Israel, after boasting its defeat of God, so they thought, 2 days after God's man spoke and identified them, the tsunami that hit the state of Israel and a second wave was revealed in 9. Israel, by September, Israel had the highest per capita incidence rate, eclipsing the U.S. And so Israel went from the model nation of success that subdued the virus to now Israel is declared the leader in those suffering from the virus. See how God works through his man? But the time when COVID-19 was a white man's disease, that time is long gone.
Passover black people. Passover the seed of Abraham,
The
not the demons.
plague of biblical proportions is hidden. Black people,
Demons.
black males,
Demons.
in particular, like no one else.
Demons. House Negroes.
So the title of the subtitle of our report is The Origin of COVID-19 and How It Became a Black Epidemic. How did it go from an affluent white disease in New York and LA and a Jewish disease to now largely a black epidemic? And the
Demons.
chief victims now are not just black people in general, but that is so. But as is said here, this virus seems to have stunningly deadly efficiency with which it has targeted young black men.
Kill the males. Let the women go free.
How did
Let women live.
COVID-19 become
Demon males.
a black epidemic?
The black epidemic in Africa.
White scientists are quite disappointed.
Listen.
depopulators, with their focus on Africa, had high hopes for this virus. With Africa's weak medical infrastructure, with the congestion in Africa, and with Africans suffering the same high level of comorbidity factors that we do here in America, they expected Africa to burn up as Europe was burning up. And today they are angry because Africa seems to be protected.
Passover.
Africa, while black Americans are 12.4% of the population, yet we account for 17% of the COVID-19 deaths. On the other hand,
Demons.
Africa has 17% of the world's population, but only 3.4% of the global cases of COVID-19 and only 3.5% of COVID deaths.
Virtually none.
The consternation is articulated like this: how did Africa avoid the COVID-19 nightmare scenario?
Passover.
They're mad. But this is the point I want to raise to us today. Why are black people in America devastated from this virus,
They're not. It's the demons.
while Africans seem to be protected from it?
Yeah. Answer.
It is not the health differential.
Got that right.
Africa is home to a high prevalence of some of the same comorbidities that afflict us here in America.
They just don't have the
This is
demons that we
why
have.
the white scientists are so taken aback at the fact that Africa has averted the COVID-19 disaster. Black Africa, specifically Black Africa, the extent to which there are pockets and bubbles of COVID-19 flares, they tend to be non-Africans in the continent.
Passover.
But Black Africans, with all of their comorbidities, seem to be protected from the virus, but Africans in America are devastated.
No, they're
How
not.
do we account for that, especially
Because the demons.
if this is, and it is, a pestilence from heaven? You say, wait a minute.
You're confused because you listen to Farrakhan. That's why you can't get it right.
Weren't you the one trying to convince Rabbi Harry that black people in America are the chosen people of God? If black people in America
Original black people.
people of God,
Half the population
this pestilence
of black
is
people.
God sent. Why are black people in America in particular, not in Africa, but God's people in America? Didn't you say, Brother Wesson,
Because the demons is simple.
the distinction of the black man and woman in America is a fact that God visited you? Yes.
Here it goes. Here come the big Farrakhan lie.
And so, like Jews having to come to grips with the reality behind Adolf Hitler, we have to come to grips with and have the on our big boy and big girl pants and have a hard discussion, a hard conversation about why is Black Africa protected, but Black America is devastated.
Simple,
I will make a suggestion
because of
to
demons.
us, if I may.
But if you listen to Farrakhan, you're going to be confused. That's why you look so confused. You ever notice how confused he looks? So simple.
There's something very crucial that separates Black Africa from Black America.
Yeah, they weren't raped. They have demons. Half the
We
population
all
are
got
demons. That's the difference.
comorbidities. We all are victims of the wicked science of the West.
The answer is simple.
The white man has, I have said, the white man is a scientist, and the Negro is his science project. That applies over here as much as over there. So Africans and Black Americans, we all are mixed up and messed up as a result of white scientific white supremacy. But there is something very critical that distinguishes the Black man in America from the Black man in Africa and all over the world, and that distinction is
Demons.
God came to us.
Oh,
And
man.
God gave us a particular shield. God gave the Black man and woman in America what he didn't give the Black man and woman in Africa. He didn't make himself known in Africa. What he didn't give the Black man and woman.
Listen to this bullshit. He just says not effective. So obviously they didn't need a shield, did they? So if they don't, why if they didn't get the shield, then why it's not bothering them? See this bullshit? These people are so full of bullshit. That's why he looks so confused. Like he's on drugs, because he's full of shit. See, listen to this. If you listen to stuff, it don't make no sense whatever. See, everybody with Farrakhan is confused. Just listen to this garbage. See, the simple statement, simple, clear enough. We got demons over here. They got look black, talk black, walk like black. They ain't us. So that's why they're the ones that's dying. It's a simple explanation because he doesn't want to go back to Exodus. He doesn't go back to the scripture. He want to go to Farrakhan's bullshit. That's why he's confused.
In India, he came and gave the Black man and woman in America his personal presence and then the secret formula to survive everything Satan would put on us. We were given that formula.
Apparently, the Africans didn't need it. See how dumb this is?
To whom much is given, much is required. If this pestilence from heaven suggests that God's patience has been exhausted, if it indicates that the sins and crimes of Israel, he will no longer give them respite for. And so he sent the pestilence from heaven and devastated them. If this pestilence from heaven suggests God is done playing, I'm reminded of what Thomas Jefferson said, and I'm suggesting that it's applicable to the Black man and woman in America. What Thomas Jefferson said when he reflected that God is a just God and his justice would not last forever, he trembled for his country.
That's why he was raping his black people, black women.
Heaven, if it indicates that God's justice has awoken than black people in America. Will God's justice miss us when we've had 90 years of the secret formula? And what did we do with it?
Here we go. See? Now it's also black folk plays getting black people. But yet and still, it wasn't getting them at first. Listen to his argument. I'm not going to play the entire thing. He says, go to NOI.org and watch Sunday. You watch the whole thing all the way to the end. I'm going to play some more. But in the end, he's saying, well, it was spread by some people called Boogaloo Boys or something, some yes. His argument doesn't make any sense. Because first of all, it was passing over us, and then they had to do something special to make it happen, but yet still God is punishing us. It makes no sense. Because he said it wasn't affecting black people. See? And then he says, well, then it is affecting black people. He can't get his story straight. First it wasn't, and then it is, and then what's the difference between it's not affecting Africa, but it's affecting us, and what's the difference between us and Africa, which is obvious. We got half of the black folks in America are demons. Those are the ones that are being affected. And then he goes on to say, well, later on, that it wasn't affecting black people. That's what scriptures say. It was passing over us, right? And it came from Iran. You admit that. See? But then uh, but then suddenly we started getting it because these Boogaloo boys started spreading amongst us. It makes no sense. See, because if you go down Farrakhan's path, you might as well be on crack or something. Because those people are ignorant, they're stupid, confused. It's very simple. The difference between us and Africa is we have demons here. They're the ones that's dying. The reason why it's not killing people in Africa, he said even the people that are killing Africa are not Africans. They're not black Africans. So it's passing over them, but why is not? Oh, because God came and gave us special formula, right, to protect us, but yet we're not protected. But now He's mad at us because we didn't. If we had used the formula He gave us, it would have passed over us. But Africans are just like us; they don't have a formula, and it's passing over them. It makes no sense. He's supposed to be a doctor. He's a doctor dumb, Doctor Fool.
They say
Look how confused he looks. Yeah, because he's confused. That's why Allah put that look on his face.
in America are suffering so much because we got all of these comorbidities. We're obese, diabetes, hypertension, cardiac, pulmonary, the whole spectrum of ailments.
And he just said Africa has the same ailments. Listen to him. He just said previously Africa has the same comorbidities, means the same ailments.
We, black people in America, lead the pack. Now, we didn't come to America like that. We were scientifically produced in this way. However, for 90 years, we had the manual that had we adhered to it, we would be protected right now from COVID-19. That's a fact. You know why? Our natural physiological state, black man, this virus is so stunningly efficient in killing black men, but in our natural state, we are protected against the virus. Our levels of testosterone, our activity of the androgen receptor. We have an immune system. We have the reports. Our immune system is twice more powerful than Caucasian immune systems. We got B cells and we produce an antibody response to viral infection twice as strong as Caucasians. That's a fact. Us in our natural state absolutely would have made us minimally impacted by SARS-CoV-2, but we are not in our natural state. But we should have been. Had we listened to God's man, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the life that was prescribed for us is the very shield. We're going around the world wearing these damn masks now. And we got to. When I leave, I'm putting mine on too.
I don't have one.
But if we had on the shield of God that was brought to us.
Think about this now. He claims that the people are getting it because they don't have the shield. But he has the shield because he's doing all the things that he's getting ready to tell you that we're supposed to do. So if he has a shield, why is he and Farrakhan and all those clowns there wearing masks? If they have the shield. You see, nothing they say makes any sense. It's not logical. It's just insane. That's why he looks confused. If he's obeying what he's about to tell us that we're supposed to obey, then why does he need a mask?
Then our physiology would have protected us from this virus. But what did we do? We exalt our health gurus over the messenger of God. The messenger of God said eat Navy bean, and that Navy bean would have been so protective for us. Did you know why so many black men die after contracting the virus? In too many cases, it's not the virus that precipitated the death. It's the overreaction of the immune system that caused the death. And why did the immune system react so hyper-aggressively? Because diminished testosterone in a man causes an overreaction of the immune response. Testosterone, one of the immunoprotective qualities of testosterone, it dampens the immune response. Women suffer autoimmune deficiency syndromes more than men. That means in women, their immune system overreacts and starts attacking the organs. Testosterone is what dampens that effect. But in the studies done in men who contracted severe COVID and died, their testosterone levels were depleted. We have been documenting the testosterone conspiracy and the estrogen assault. That's the context to how COVID-19 became a black epidemic.
But you should be immune because you say you and Farrakhan and all your followers over there are doing the things that you said that God said we should be doing. So you should be immune because you said that is the shield, right? So if that's the shield, then what the hell you need mask for? Where's Farrakhan? Why is Farrakhan man wearing a mask? There's a bunch of liars over there.
If we ate that Navy bean, Brother Minister Ismail, if we followed how to eat to live, we would have been physiologically restored and we would have been prepared for this happening. But instead,
But then you wouldn't need a mask, right?
where God's man said eat the Navy bean, we want to dismiss God's man and choose a health guru that tells us to eat chickpeas.
These fools, boy, they crack me up.
Trade the Navy being a testosterone booster for the chickpea that is a great feminizer of men.
I think he's a doctor of comedy, but still, it still ain't working. So he got a doctorate to be a clown, but he's still not a good one. Sad.
Black people in America, everything about our natural state says we should have been more protected than Africa is. But Africans are protected and we are devastated. To whom much is given, much is required. And if God is angry with the world, I suspect that none has disappointed him more than the people to whom he came and bore his direct presence.
See, there you go. Blame it on black folks. They're sinful. They don't obey Farrakhan. They ain't do what God said. That has nothing to do with the Abrahamic covenant. There's no scripture to support that garbage. You understand? Unless you're reading the sealed book. The unsealed book, this monks all that garbage. That's it. Because you're not listening to Farrakhan. You see, but are you listening to Farrakhan, Wesley? So if you're listening and you're obeying, you eat bean soup and doing the message black man and doing how you live, then why the hell you wearing a mask? You should be shielded. Hell, you shouldn't have no problems.
After 66 trillion years, yeah, this is that big boy, big girl conversation, black man and woman in America. He said, I tremble for my country.
This ain't no big boy conversation. This is bullshit.
When I reflect that God is a just God and his justice will not sleep forever, his justice wasn't going to sleep forever for the black man and woman in America. We love Farrakhan, but we reject the guidance of Farrakhan, and I'm going to say something more about that in a minute as I begin to land this plane.
Yeah, land. You could about to crash it. You're crashing it. You ain't landed.
Now, the COVID-19 become a black epidemic.
Now listen. Listen to what he's getting ready to say now. See how that boy is really sick. Now he's saying we got it because we punished by God for not obeying God. We didn't have the shield, right? And now he's getting ready to tell us a whole different reason why we're getting it. Because he said it wasn't the black people that did disease at first. See, because it was passing over black people. See, but it shouldn't have been because we didn't have the shield. But now he's going to tell us, well, how? Because we're getting punished because we wasn't obeying how to live and we wasn't eating bean soup. See, so that's why we're getting it. But now, see, he's going to tell us a whole different reason why we was getting it because of these boogaloo boys spreading all over the black community. None of this shit makes any sense. None of it. That's why he looks confused. That's why all of them are confused over there and they're desperate. They're desperate trying to explain why he didn't see any of this coming. He didn't even speak on it until July. We're still lying about that. Like he knew about it back in February and didn't start in February when it actually started in January. It's documented proof. Just Google it. So they're desperate because people ask them, well, how did you know? Well, you know so much about it now. Why didn't you know anything about it then? See? And explain to us how come it's not killing people in Africa, but it's killing us over here. And so they come up with all these BS explanations, you understand? Pulling stuff out of monkey ass. And now it tells us, honey, this is bullshit, all of it. Just listen to it. I mean, all you got to do is think about it, what he's saying, and you say, these people are insane over there. And they're desperate because they've been asked questions they can't answer. So they got to make up a narrative And the narrative is worse than that, than the lies they be telling.
In January, in February, COVID-19 was demonstrably a white epidemic.
So how confused you are? Now go back earlier in the beginning of this short tape I'm showing. He says nobody knew about it until February. Now he's telling you January they knew it was a white man disease. See how they confused they are? See? So they must be sitting down smoking crack all together, right? And pulling crap out of Farrakhan's ass and calling it honey and snacking on it. These people are insane.
So much so that black folks made humorous memes. We good, we got ginger ale. The Negro cure-all, ginger ale. And we thought that because of our ginger ale, that's why we weren't getting COVID in. Because white folks was getting that.
And see, the truth is coming out because I've been saying all the time, black folks wasn't getting this. They was giving you percentages, see? That he's telling you the truth, that it was only white folks getting it. But they was telling you on the news, right, that black folks was getting it at first. And we was getting disproportionate numbers. That's what they were saying at first. Now he's telling you the truth about that we weren't getting it. See, they was getting all the percentages, but black folks wasn't getting it. But now he's going to tell you it took a while, and then they had to do something special to make black folks get it. See, so he's mixing truth with falsehood, which is confusion. And like I keep telling you, confusion is worse than lies, because he's mixed all this stuff up together, and it's all confusing, but there is truth in it. See, but he can't come and just tell you the truth as it is, as stated. I mean, it's truth as unraveled. He can't tell you truth like it because that will kill Farrakhan. Because that would have to, the only explanation would be is that we have demons here, and then they have to explain what a demon is. And once they explain what a demon is, that's the end of Farrakhan. They don't talk about demons because they have to say, what's the difference between Africa and us? Because we have demons here. Half the black population are demons, and they're the ones that's dying. So they have to explain what demons are. Oh, demons are slave masters' children. And so they die just like the slave masters doing. That's why. Because it's 34 million, but 17 million are slave masters' children. They're demons. So, oh, then what's a demon? A demon is slave masters' children. Oh, they're the ones that's dying. Oh, that's why Farrakhan's wear the mask, because his father's a devil. See, and that's why you all wear masks, because all you demons over there. See, he can't tell you that way because it's very simple. The explanation is very simple. We're not getting it. Africans not getting it. And the reason why they're not getting it, and people, blacks over here getting it, because half the black population is demons. And the original people are not getting it. And that's the situation. See, he can't tell you like that. Because again, like I said, they have to explain what a demon is. Once they do that, that's the end of Farrakhan.
But then in February, the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI intercepted chatter on an encrypted app. The chatter from certain white supremacist groups that fall under the title accelerationist white supremacist groups. Accelerationists meaning these are white groups that their end goal is the destruction of the current American system and world. And anything that pops up that looks like it can accelerate the fall of America, accelerate the civil war that they envision, the race war that they envision, anything that happens that can accelerate it it's their duty to join that phenomenon, to inflame that phenomenon. The encrypted chatter that the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI became aware of in February had these white supremacists plotting to weaponize COVID-19 or the coronavirus against black people. How so? According to the intercepted chatter, white supremacists said to their group that it was their duty. Any white supremacists who contracted the virus, it was their duty to go spread it in black neighborhoods. The FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, and they sent the notice to local police departments. The plot outlined in that chatter was, go when you get sick with the virus, go to black neighborhoods and just cough in the air. Go put saliva on important touch points in the community, door handles, elevator buttons. The instructions were, go to the gas stations in black neighborhoods. They say, you know, I went to every Indian gas station I could find because, you know, the Indian era gas stations, they flood our community. To go to the gas stations and put saliva on the gas pump. The instructions were to go to the bank, take out money and convert it to small bills and then lick it and cough all over it and then go on a shopping spree in black neighborhoods. This is the plotting that the Department of Homeland Security intercepted in February. And we know they did it because by April 1st, all of the press was saying Black America is disproportionately affected by coronavirus. But in January, February, Black America was absent from this phenomenon. Now there's a particular group among them, the Boogaloo Boys. They took that objective seriously. Boogaloo is code word for the civil racial war that they envisioned. And they started using the language Boogaloo 2020, suggesting that to them, the boogaloo that they wanted, the civil war, is going to happen now. And the reason they were so optimistic, they saw the coronavirus, they called it the booger flu. The flu, the weapon for the boogaloo. And so the Boogaloo Boys were among the race soldiers who most actively carried out that order to spread coronavirus in black neighborhoods. We're talking about how COVID-19 became a black epidemic. But look, I want to say something. I have to be careful. It's this man. To you people